Hi sir, how are you?
I'm good. You can see me.
Yes. So we all know how amazing work you do, and we also
Thank
saw
you.
a short intro video about your work, how your office functions, and what kind of projects you have done. But before I start with throwing questions at you, let me ask you how many clients call you had today before we entered the office?
Uh, Today, a couple of clients did call me in the morning. Someone wanted to come and meet me right away. So I told him that I have something
Yeah.
already there, but he keeps insisting. He kept insisting. So I said, okay, come. One of my associates will look into it.
So, welcome to our podcast. The name says Me Time with Sagar.
Thank
So,
you.
in this podcast, we will know about you, your work, and your design philosophy, and end it with some wonderful round of candid questions. Like it's a rapid fire round, but not like a Karan Johar wala scene जहाँ पे आप we'll put you in some controversies, but it is some fun. So, are you up for
I'm
it?
scared.
So, I'll just throw the first question at you now.
Okay.
It is about site context. So, when you start a new project, how often do you learn the special history and the culture of this place?
Uh, See, if you see the kind of work that we are doing, the first thing is we personally believe that work has to be contextual because every site speaks for itself. And as an architect, you personally believe that every site is a new canvas.
Yes.
Now, if you don't take the contextual part, if you don't take the history, if you don't take the people out there, then the new canvas becomes an old canvas. Then you're just doing a replica of what you have done. And if you see the kind of work we are doing, we personally believe that we should not be having cookie cutters. So one of the best ways to not do cookie cutters is that you use site as a context, and you take that as one of the biggest things, because the site gives you what it has to be done there. Okay, then it is the people, then it is the requirements, and then obviously the nature comes into play, and that's how you make it contextual and sustainable in a place.
I think the mosque you did in Kanpur had that kind of thing.
It's a wonderful project. It was a very small mosque and
Yes.
very amazing, and we had a very nice concept where the mosque itself did sajda on the west side. So we took a square and we tilted the
Yes.
square, and because we had to face the west, because
Yes.
Mecca is on west from here, so we did get an opportunity of having the north and south to play around with, from where we took a lot of light, and that we kind of put with a jali and made it very nice and very interesting. So the light came from the north south, made it very sustainable because there was no heat coming in, and we had this nice water body on the southwest from where the air kind of wind came in, and that wind in the dry arid climate was a little cooler, little humid, and made it very comfortable for people.
That was really great to know that religious architecture can be done in a certain different way. Like we see mosques or temples in a very different way as it was designed before. But the project I saw, which was very different, so that was nice.
So was the temple. We went by the Namaste concept.
Yes.
So in one campus, we had the opportunity of doing the mandir also and the mosque also.
Oh.
And both of them were very beautifully done. And we had these beautiful jalis and beautiful work which was there to it.
So I'll go to my next question for you. So can you share a memorable instance where you had to modify your design to unexpected contextual factors? Like was it in Kanpur?
Kanpur was not so much to that this, okay, but I'll give you a very different example. It is we are working on a redevelopment project, and we had to do these redevelopment houses for people. And obviously when you do it in Mumbai or anywhere, you do a house, it was a 350, 375 square feet house. So the tendency is to do a living, dining, kitchen, bedroom kind of an one bedroom, hall, kitchen, apartment. But then we saw the lifestyle of the people. We saw that people don't live the way we think people live. People don't eat the way we think people eat. So they had a very different life and different culture to it. And when we started absorbing that, we changed our design to the lifestyle of the people which was there. And we also made it inclusive by sharing those designs with the people. taking their feedback and modifying our design to make it contextual to the lifestyle of the people out there.
Yes.
And today when we finish that, and in each house there are virtually 2 generations staying in 350, 375.
Okay.
And they are so happy because the design was modified to their needs,
Yes.
which was not a regular apartment which you have
Yes.
it in Mumbai.
Rather than architect designing it, you designed it for what they require.
Yeah, it was very personalized, and that to do in a building was very difficult.
So now knowing about the site context, we are moving to sustainable architecture. Everyone talks about it, but let's understand it from the client's perspective. Sometimes they are not immediately sold on sustainable design choices. So how do you convince them?
So it depends. Now, what is the sustainable part that you are talking of? Okay, what is it that you want to do? Okay, why is the client saying no? The client is telling because you are saying I want to put these materials, this. Certain things are today become a norm. Whether it is rainwater harvesting, solar panels, recycling water, that is a norm. So where does the client get into difference? Is all these materials and cost which comes in. I personally believe sustainability starts much prior to that. Okay. I personally believe as an architect that sustainability starts from planning part of it. Okay. How you plan your this, like you see the Wokhat school that we have
Yes.
done, in Aurangabad. We placed every classrooms which were north-south to take the north-south light. We had no direct sunlight coming into classrooms. So all the classrooms become sustainable in its own way.
Yes.
You don't need, too much of artificial light. Just like here, you have this light coming in.
Yes.
You don't need artificial light. So throughout the day when the school is running, you have got so much natural light coming inside. Because there is no heat coming inside, there is a minimum requirement of any mechanical system required to cool the place.
Correct.
Then you work on the other parts. Now, we felt climatically it was a good place to use something like exposed concrete. Now, when we use exposed concrete, it requires no maintenance, it requires no paint, it is timeless, it's lifetime. So, it depends from where you're starting sustainability and what is your concept of sustainability. Is sustainability only saying that, I have to use recycled materials? Is sustainability only saying that I have to, use things which are within this kilometer and I have to see that? No, I think, those are there. I'm not denying those things. But I'm saying that there is far more beyond that for it,
I think the definition of sustainability was, I think it is this much like rainwater harvesting, whatever things you told. Ki people just decide on that factors. Ki we have done this, our house is sustainable now. But I want to ask, was any convincing needed there regarding the sustainable design?
I don't think so. Now, if I tell you that I'm doing this design like this, I'm planning this like this, and just like this, your school might require 50% of the light which is there. As a client, why would we say no?
Definitely.
If I tell you I am using, this kind of natural concrete finish, which for years you don't need to paint, you don't need to maintain, and the child can't spoil it, why would you say no?
Yes.
So it is user-centric of what you're doing. Okay, also. It's what you want to do, how it works with that space, and how it eventually, gets completed in its holistic manner. And that is what sustainable is all about, So it's not just the materials and just not the cost which is there.
I think it's also like how architects explain it to the client in what they want to listen in those terms.
I think every client today is literate enough to understand sustainability. But the mindset, as you said rightly, is that sustainable means मुझे ये points करना है और ये points के लिए ये cost आएगा, But are we talking just for points as sustainability, or are we talking sustainability as sustainability per se?
And also the play of light you talked about, it also invites students to come to the school and have that play with the light and shadow,
so
which interests them to study.
And secondly, when you're making something so connected to nature, so it's a very child-centric opportunity that you're giving to the child, it's a scale which is so different. It's so child-centric, so user-centric. And when it is so child-centric and user-centric, they are going to like it, you
Yes.
know.
It reminded me of my school. So all my classrooms were facing towards the courtyard. It had light coming in, and all corridors were connected with courtyards. It was wonderful.
We did another school which is Dainik Bhaskar, Sanskar Valley in Bhopal, and where we had the classrooms to the courtyard. Again, considering the climatic condition, you know, we had a beautiful valley, and in which we put these blocks which are there. And amazing part was that courtyard even did absorb the sound. So most of the times when I went after the school, the teachers kept the doors open. But because of that courtyard, you know, there was very little sound which was getting transmitted from one side to the other.
Yes. Any specific time in architecture history that resonates with you the most, and there's a sub question to it, and how does it influences your design philosophy?
So obviously when we were in college, we were influenced by many things.
Yes.
Okay. I was quite taken up by the Indian architecture. I was also quite taken up by some of the architecture in Isfahan in Iran, which was so decorative at that time, and how, you know, amazing it is. But then when I started moving and I started getting into a professional line, you know, it was in the 90s, and I had an opportunity somewhere to get a hand on a book from Walter Gropius, and that kind of worked a little on me, and, you know, I changed from looking more into decorative to more minimalism that I came into, somewhat influenced by Bauhaus, but not kind of this. And then Mies van der Rohe, and, you know, the concept of how you can draw minimum to gain the maximum, you know. So, and then eventually that is what started reflecting in my designs. I for sure started tweaking with some forms inside that rather than just keeping it very simple. But that is what made me start in the 90s. And when people were doing very decorative architecture, very classical architecture, I was finding it very tough to explain people that, you know, you can do buildings simple. And obviously commercial clients used to tell me that you're not ready to work hard, because we didn't have so many computer generated perspectives, so you had to have hard drawings. And the hard drawings just showed straight lines which were there, so which was very difficult for people to understand. It is in the late 90s when people got exposed to that architecture that it became a part of the style of architecture in India.
So I have one random question in my mind right now while you were speaking about how you started your firm. We see many of the young architects who start their firm find it very difficult, but you started in the 90s when I think architecture was not at that peak. People were not hiring architects all like for every day, another day. So how was your experience there? How you started it?
I had one disadvantage, which was that when I had worked in a senior architecture firm when I was studying in college and 4 years after my college. So for sure I knew how architect's office works per se. I kind of had that, but yes, it was tough. It was not so simple. And to get clients, to get projects, but you have to keep working, you know.
Yes.
And I personally always say that way, that when you pitch for 10 projects, eventually 3 or 4 will happen, you know. So you have to keep that count and keep working hard and keep pitching, and you have to have the diversities of doing everything. If you keep the diversity, then you create more opportunities for yourself, and that's what we did. We were doing hotels, we were doing hospital, we were doing residential, we were doing commercial, we were doing school, everything that came our way, and we learned the science of how to do that, and we moved on.
So guys, I think you should learn from him what you have just said now. How when you start a firm, you should not like ek saal mein everything would happen for you overnight. You have to start doing it again and again, and then it will eventually happen for you.
One thing I'll always say to anyone, hard work never goes waste.
Yes.
You will be surprised that you have worked on a project and nothing has happened for years, you know, and the client says, I don't like it, something happens. But somewhere, few years down the line, the client comes back and says that, you know, I'd worked with you on that, it didn't happen that time. Okay, we thought something different. but now I want to come back and work with you.
That's
So
nice.
I think you have to just put your head down and just give your best shot, you know.
Yeah.
And we are all at times we are surprised that the project that you're least expecting to turn around, that turns around, and the project that you're
Yes.
really thinking that this is my project only and is not going anywhere slips out of your hand. So there is no this of saying that I am going to work hard on this and not going to work hard on this. We need to work hard on everything that comes our
Only
way.
thing will happen, someone will reject you, but
Yeah.
there is another opportunity standing.
But
for
that
you.
rejection is never a rejection. It's
Yes.
somewhere you have put in what you thought, and if it is right, then few years down the line it will come back to you.
Yes. I think that is happening for me right now for in the content field.
I think that was what our basic funda was,
Yeah.
and that's why we never got upset if things didn't work our way. We just said, okay, this didn't work, let's move forward.
Yes. So moving forward now, there's a next question for you. Can you share your experience of a project in which intentionally rework conventional architecture language to create a unique design?
Yeah, again we did it. We did it in that same redevelopment project which was there. We are not so much into architecture which is very ornate or ornamental or this. So we were doing, when we finished the master plan, our buildings are very modern, very sleek, very clean. But then when we started working on the elevation, we walked on the streets. And when we walked on the streets, we realized that this area is very traditional. And there is a certain eye line which is there, eyesight or eye line which is there. And when you walk around that, the architecture in that eyesight of about 20 meters, 30 meters is all very different, you know. It has got its style, it has got a style which is to the people of that place. It has got a lot of materials which are there like stone and everything. So even though we were planning buildings which were tall, we felt that till a certain level, we should modify and come out of our comfort zone to a non-comfort zone and design buildings which resonates with the surrounding and becomes contextual to the streets which are there.
Okay. Yes.
Because if your street is there and you have one side a different language and the other side a different language, it does not speak well. And so we needed to see that our building spoke a similar language, not 100%, but they kind of said that it was from the same family.
Yes.
And made it contextual to the streets which were there.
People will connect more to it.
Yes.
So this is the last question of this particular segment, and rapid fire is coming your way. Okay. So this is the last question of this segment. As an architect, what legacy do you hope your projects will leave behind for future generations, both in terms of physical structures and societal impact?
So, it's a tough question.
Yes, that's why it's the last question.
So we have worked on schools, we have worked on hospitals, and we have worked on hospitalities, we have worked on some government projects also which are very interesting. So I don't know whether I can say that I'm going to leave a legacy. Okay, I can't say that. It is for people to absorb that and say that I'm leaving something behind. But if so, then for sure one thing is there, that as I said earlier also, every architecture opportunity that you're getting to do something, you're getting a new canvas, and there is so much to inspire yourself to do something different every time. And I think that is one of the biggest legacy the youngsters should take it up from. That don't go by saying that I can just repeat what I had done here, And at the social impact level, yes, when you try to make buildings which are trying to speak to one another, which are getting contextual, getting connected to the surrounding, then for sure you're making a social impact on this.
Yes. So that was a first segment that was really nice.
Thank you.
So rapid fire is coming your way finally.
Okay.
And trust me, there's no controversial
I'm
questions
okay.
there. Only one last one, I think, which might put you in little bit trouble, but I think you will do it well there.
Okay.
First question, quick. Name 3 non-architectural things that inspired your contextual designs.
So, three non-architecture thing is first is soul.
Wow.
If a building doesn't have a soul, it's not a building.
Wow. That's really wonderful
Okay.
saying.
Identity. We try not to make cookie cutters because we try to give everyone an identity. Nature, to some extent, of how you can embrace nature with your projects and see how it can move forward.
So this is something fun round of question for you. If the buildings could compete in eco-friendly Olympics, what event would your designs dominate?
Oh wow! So I don't know.
Is it
Means,
athletics or discus throw or what?
oh, it's that way. Okay. For sure, when you're talking of Olympics, I don't know. Few of my buildings would get selected. When you talk about them in the architecture sense, then just like what we did, a small office in Ahmedabad, which was just 2000, connected with nature, or the Wokhat school. These are very, what do I say, very functional, and you can add a word, eco-brutalism.
Oh yes.
Okay, so I don't know whether they form into the discus throw or the athletics. Okay, but if the segments were more architecture, then it would go into the functional eco-brutalism, where you take nature inside, you
Yes.
take materials which are very kind of basic, to the land, and you kind of take a lot of natural light coming inside, and you do concretes and those kind of things, which is there to it.
So complete the sentence. Architecture is like a box of chocolates because
I don't eat chocolates anymore, but architecture is a box of chocolate. Yes,
is it
because
a box of chocolate?
it's always a box of chocolate, because when you look at it and when you open it, it's very exciting. Some are bitter, some
Yes.
are sweet, and some are crunchy.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Nice. This will be the tagline for the whole video now. So next one is, if you could time travel and collaborate with any master architect, who would it be and why? It can be Indian or from abroad.
So yeah, I did mention that I was fancied by this movement in the post the Second World War, or around the Second World War. And when I went to Chicago for the first time, I was quite taken up by these, these black, dark buildings with these steel sections flowing from top to bottom,
Constructivism and brutalism.
Yeah, I would love to have spent some time with a person like Mies van der Rohe and seen that.
Yes.
How would he have worked on these kind of things, which is so brutal, but still it is so timeless.
Yes.
Today also, when you go and you look at those buildings, they just stand tall, and they just stand, and that lines which go from down to top, it just kind of expresses that whole movement of tall buildings. Yes. And that structure and everything. It is so pure in its own way. For sure, I have not got a chance to do something like that, but if I had given an opportunity, I would have loved to work with him on something.
Oh, that's nice. So one more question, and this is a bit a troublesome question for you. What's the weirdest request a client has ever made, and did you incorporate it in your design? It should be the weirdest.
I don't think I ever had such kind of an issue majorly. I don't remember something like that. And because we always tried to work around what was told to us, and I think the Indian clientele is quite literate not to ask something like that. So I have not really had that experience. One of the only thing that I had is I had these buildings, technical institute I was doing, and the buildings were very differently painted with walls and murals and different things. And suddenly one day the client comes and says, I want a whole building to be painted in one color. That's it.
Oh my God.
And when we went on site, all buildings were painted in one color, and we just didn't know. We were just looking at it, and so it was one of the odd things.
Yes.
But that was the only, I remember, an odd thing that had ever happened.
Okay. Do you listen to songs?
Yeah, once in a while I do.
So if your architecture portfolio, your designs have a theme song, what it would be?
So my architecture portfolio is uh, it's a different platter at every point, but to get to that, for sure, I need you need a lot of motivation. You need a lot of spirit. So yeah, we've been listening to so many songs. But one song which kind of I don't know if it talks about an architecture portfolio. I'm not too sure. But one
But
which
what
was,
if it gets going for you?
yeah,
That's a
it's
go-to
kind of
song.
is that Rang De Basanti song of Rubaru, you
Oh,
know.
that's a really good song.
And yeah, when you listen to that song, there's something in that
It has
song.
soul.
It has a
It has a
soul.
soul. What you
It
talked
has
about just.
Yeah. So it has. That's why.
If you could live in any building you design, which one it would be? I know it's a bit hard for you to answer.
No, it's not hard because
Okay.
I'm staying in the building which is designed by me
Oh,
and I'm
wow.
enjoying it.
Oh, wow.
But that is a residential building.
Yes.
But another example which was very different was I'm not saying I was able to stay in that thing, was the school I did at Bhopal, the Sanskar Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very privileged that someone gave me a 36 acre of a valley to work on. And rather than making a building, I had these different blocks because I wanted it to be something like when child centric, that was the first thing. And secondly, by the time the trees grew, I didn't want anything to be seen. And there were times when I had no work in Bhopal, but I used to just call them up and say, I'm coming.
Oh.
And you see those steps which are there in that picture which is there of Sanskar Valley,
Yes, yes.
And that is where the admin block was there. The right side, you come here, right side, the amphitheater.
Yeah.
And I used to, after school had started, I used to just go and sit on those steps. And I used to just kind of feel that, wow, what a thing it is. I wish I was a child and I was back into this school.
Wow.
So I live in a building which is designed by me, but yes, given an opportunity, there are so many such things which I would like. The office which we did in Ahmedabad, which is just 2,000 square feet with this sort of match, you want to sit in an office like
Yes,
that,
yes.
where. So it is not necessary that it is just a residential, but it can be anything. And yeah, I go there and that client tells me, today, whenever I go there, it's your office and still one cabin is there. You can come and sit here. You can do your meetings here. It is on the outskirts of Ahmedabad, so it's very difficult. But every time I go, I just want to spend 10 minutes in that office.
Is that Terra House?
Yeah, the Terra House.
Yes. I got, while you're explaining, I thought
So
about that.
I forget the names, but Terra House. So I just go there and spend 10 minutes. I have a cup of tea and I leave. But whenever I'm there, I just feel so positive in that place.
Like while seeing the photographs, I could sense that feeling there.
And similar thing is the place where I stay. It is personalized living that we have created in South Bombay, and the spaces are so beautiful that we just love to be there with the heights that I've given. So I'm okay. I don't mind staying there, and I don't mind going and sitting in these offices and these schools which I have done.
Okay, so last question for you. If any, like from any of your ongoing project, your client is watching this video, what you will tell them?
I'll just tell them that enjoy what I'm doing, okay, and I thank every client of mine firstly for standing up to me. I thank every client for listening to me and understanding me and getting convinced by me to do whatever I've told them. So let's continue the journey. Let's make some nice projects. Let's do some eco-friendly, sustainable working, and let's try and leave a legacy behind.
Yes. So I hope you found these questions to be very new and very energetic. Like before, maybe you have not answered those. We've tried to make it little candid and fun. And I think you are the whole soul winner of this rapid fire round. And just like Karan Johar does, we have a small hamper for you. So
I never thought that I'll win, because.
So there's a small hamper from our side for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Those questions are amazing. Yes, it was a first experience for me, and on a rapid fire.
Thank you so much for this interview and taking out time I know you have a very busy schedule. You missed some client calls in front of us, but I think there's a huge learning and there are huge takeaways for me as well as an architect, and the people who will be watching this video also will take a lot with them. So
thank you, you and your team for coming over here, and all you guys. It's very nice. It was a beautiful session. I was a little jittery because I've never done this before, and but still, I think the questions were very, since it was connected to our field, it kind of was very nice. It was informative also, and something we look forward to in the near future also, I think.
yes.
Yeah.
So we have a ritual which you have to do while
Yes.
we end this video. So this is your camera.
Okay.
So you have to speak some good things about us, our page, and say to our audience that they have to subscribe my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram.
So I think, what can I say? I think Sagar and his team is here, okay, and I think this is a wonderful job that they are doing. I was quite amazed when they connected with us and they asked me to sit up here for these questionnaires, and this whole session. The session was amazing. It was, as I said, very informative. It was also knowledgeable to me, and I think that this is the future and this is the way to go. So I think that he's doing a great job, he and his team. So I think we should all join him in what he's doing in his endeavor, and see that we support him at the Instagram level and all the other levels that he's connected with. Thank you.
So all the links are in the description. Okay. So thank you so much, sir, again for your time and all the wonderful insights you gave it to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.